Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us.
As we look around Washington, D.C., we're looking at a city that's really on the move as far as going to 100% renewable energy for its homes, businesses, nonprofits, communities of faith. Everywhere they want to have renewable energy. And so we're talking with a gentleman, Ben Colbert. He's founder and CEO of City Renewables. And we're going to be talking about how solar energy replaces your power bill. And this is really his story as far as City Renewables and how to help the public to move forward. Ben, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thanks for having me on.
Looking at City Renewables, great name, but I like your tagline, building a clean future. How is the work that you're doing really building a clean future?
Sure. I mean, almost every aspect of your life revolves around electricity. And you want to know that your electricity is coming from a clean energy source. We have been burning fossil fuels for a very long time, and now folks are really concerned about where they're getting their energy source. And as we become more and more educated on how you receive your energy, I think it's becoming more and more important for folks to know that it's coming from a clean energy source. Mm-hmm. And Washington, D.C. is essentially a beacon in the country for renewable energy. And it's really exciting to see what's happening in the city.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at this is a great photograph. Of course, this is you standing on a rooftop installing the solar panels. What excites you each morning when you get up to know that you really are bringing solar energy to replace power bills, but also fossil fuels as an energy source for the District of Columbia?
Sure. You know, it's a really fun industry. I'm always smiling on rooftops, and it's bringing so many jobs. It is a fast growing industry, and it also it helps the community in terms of jobs, and also it helps building owners and homeowners reduce their electricity costs. So it's really a win-win for everything. It's hard to find a negative in the renewable space.
Well, and the whole thing about it too, when you get win-win-wins like that, the people within the community, Washington, D.C., many of them have not worked outside their communities. And all of a sudden, they're becoming knowledgeable, but leaders as far as what's going on in the world. I think this is very exciting. So looking at a presentation here to the homeowners and telling them why this is important for them to do, what are some of the main points that you like to bring out?
Sure. I mean, you know, we focus heavily on climate change and reducing the carbon in future generations, how we're helping in that mission. But really, I think folks need to know the financial benefits of solar power and how the project works. So once you understand how each one of the financial benefits work, mm-hmm. It's just a matter of who you're going to work with at that point. And but it's a little bit complicated. There's nuances to how the benefits work. But if you're able to communicate that properly and get the word out, I think it's very important for folks to understand how all this stuff works, and
Mhm.
we're here to try to help as much as possible on helping folks understand.
I think that's very important. Now, I know this is something near and dear to your heart. This is a electric power charging station. It's in Washington D.C. So we think about the solar panels that are on the homes, the businesses, the office buildings, maybe even manufacturing, but we don't think about all the other types of technologies, jobs, and technology that's actually being transferred into the city. So, what are we looking at right here? And why is this really an advancement for the whole society?
Sure. This is an amazing project that I was so grateful to be a part of. This gas station is called the RS Auto, and this is the first gas station that was ever converted to electric vehicle charging and solar power. So before these chargers were installed, the community really was giving them a lot of negative feedback on
Mhm,
how they were operating, and it was just old and dirty, and they gave them a lot of flack for it, and they just they took it in and converted their gas pumps to electric vehicle chargers,
mhm,
and we helped them convert the rooftops to solar power. So on top of that canopy and on the main roof in the background, there is full of solar panels, and it just really shows where we're going.
mhm.
And it's just amazing to see how early adopting that they were, and it was just a great project to be a part of.
Oh, and it's also great to have that example here in Washington, D.C. But the interesting part is how you're going into the neighborhoods and recruiting people that physically live in these neighborhoods, uh, teaching them and allowing them to be the persons in turn that are going to teaching their elders. It may be their parents, their aunts and uncles, their grandparents, neighbors. But why is it so important to teach the youth? And I can say both of you are quite young, uh, to help with everyone else in the community.
Sure. It's going to take everyone to jump on board with this to make this successful. For the city to be 100% renewable, we have to have all hands on deck.
Mhm,
It's younger folks, middle-aged folks, elderly, anyone that wants to be a part of this. I am always happy to help. If anybody has any questions, I'm always there. I probably drive people a little bit crazy how much I talk about solar, renewable energy all the time, but it's just my passion, and I love talking about it. And anybody that I could find to talk to, I'm always willing to help and spread the word about what's happening.
Well, and that's what it's going to take to do the replacements. Looking at the workers that you have, these are all coming out of the local community, which is quite impressive because you're building, hundreds, actually over several thousand jobs within the district itself, which is absolutely amazing. These really are new green jobs. Why is it important that they learn this technology and then in turn be able to communicate to the others, even the elders in their own homes, about how they can replace their power bill by using solar energy?
Sure. And again, there are going to be thousands more jobs created. And
Mhm,
there's really any skill level, any job that you want, you can get there by just learning it.
mhm,
There was no education that you needed. I didn't study solar in college because there really wasn't. I learned on the job,
mhm,
and anybody that's willing, again, that has the passion can jump into this, and there's going to be so many jobs. And it is a lot of younger folks coming out of college are very excited about the renewables and the opportunity. And a lot of times they teach their parents or their grandparents that own houses and buildings about how this works. And a
mhm.
lot of times it is driven by the younger folks educating the older folks owning these buildings. It's really neat to see, and all ages, are excited about this. But it's just exciting to see, especially whenever younger folks are teaching their elderly parents or grandparents about it.
I think it's fantastic because hopefully the elders are passing down wisdom to them, but they're passing knowledge up, and I think that's very exciting. Tell us about this special photograph here. What's going on, and why this little machine right in the middle of you? And both of you seem very pleased with yourself.
Yeah, being on a rooftop in the sunlight is just exciting in general. But this picture, I'm showing a friend of mine how the solar panels are work, and I'm looking at the monitoring system. These systems are very complex and very advanced, and I can just pull out my phone and I can tell you how many kilowatt hours my solar panels are producing in real time right now. And there's a lot of different data that you can look at, and every time I pull it out, I get excited about it, and this is kind of what it looks like whenever I'm explaining something to somebody about solar that they have no idea about.
Yeah, but looking at it too is how are you transferring this knowledge to this young man, and he in turn probably will influence another, 8, 10, 15 people about the benefits of solar, just what you're teaching them out of your phone right there.
Yeah, it's all about education. Again, once you know about how this stuff works, it's not quite rocket science, but a lot of the knowledge is very limited still in the population. And I think it's just fun to learn about new technology, and solar. It's fairly complex, but again, it's not super hard to explain. And whenever you're excited and like what you're doing, I think just the transfer of that energy is powerful. And I love teaching people how to solar panels work.
Yeah, no pun intended on transferring that energy, and it's powerful. It's excellent. But being on the roof, explaining the systems, letting others learn about this. Why is it so important? And we only have one more question after this one, Ben. Why is it so important that the people in the communities really do understand what's going on over them and about them as far as solar energy is concerned?
Right. I mean, it's tough to talk about sometimes, and it's hard to understand how climate change is going to affect our lives and in every aspect of it. So it's very important to teach people to help and to do what you can to preserve future generations. And also, it's not all negative either. You can save money. You can even make an income source in DC. So it's just very important for the environment and for your pocketbook. So it's nice to be involved in an industry where you get to be in business, but you're also doing what's right. And I think that I really enjoy being a part of this, and it's very important to me.
Yeah, and I think what you have is a social responsibility company, and that's very exciting because that's really a blend between the nonprofit and the for-profit world. And so many businesses, but so many nonprofits are going the same way. So it's interesting, and of course, this is a gentleman that we're just talking about that's actually in the community, learning about what's going on around them as more and more solar panels are involved. Two thumbs up. What do you see for more installations, more conversions, and more solar energy replacing the power bills for citizens across Washington, D.C.? And we got to be quick.
Sure. I mean, there's going to be thousands of jobs created in just the district, and thousands across the nation doing this. We're just now scratching the surface, and there's so much work to be done. And we're all hands on deck, and it's going to be a really fun ride over the next few years and into the decade to do this. And I'm always willing to help and do what I can. And we're going to keep working every day and converting buildings to solar power.
That sounds great. Ben Colbert, thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald Planet.
Thank you very much.